Okay, hello, my friends. Welcome. Karuna DiLibero here with Gail Kaplan, aka Lavender Joy DIY Maven. And we are here to talk about the wonders of Douglas fir. And it's so funny, we were having a good laugh right before we pressed record because we were listening to the pronunciation of the Latin name, the botanical name to this essential oil or plant, Douglas fir. So it's called Pseudotuga menziesii. Say that 5 times fast, and I'm not even going to try again because it's a tongue twister, but I just love learning about the science of these plants. And if you've been watching any of these videos, we meet every Wednesday at noon Pacific time, and we talk about a different essential oil in doTERRA's collection A to Z. And we call this our online herbal apothecary class. So today we are talking about Douglas fir. And, I have a personal resonance with this tree because I'm living here in the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And I've come full circle. I used to live here for about 14 years, many years ago, and I used to own a yoga studio here. And I have some of my oldest, longest friends, and I just feel really at home here in the forest. So I just walk out my door and I walk into a magnificent forest. I feel so blessed. And for me, being in the forest is one of the things that I find very healing next to being at the ocean and being warm. So nature is one of my remedies, and it really grounds me, and it makes me feel protected. I feel that my anxiety is reduced, and I really feel that it's a chance and opportunity to commune with the Great Spirit and to learn from all the plant allies that are living in the forest that offer us food and medicine. And it's just so phenomenal. So doTERRA actually sources their Douglas fir right here in Pacific Northwest and in New Zealand. Oh, actually, my mistake, New Zealand. They are harvesting it in New Zealand because actually in New Zealand is where it's an invasive species down there. Someone decided that they thought that the Douglas fir tree would be a beautiful addition to the landscape there. And a lot of times when we're introducing plants to landscapes and where they're foreign, you disrupt the whole ecosystem. So one of the amazing things that I love about doTERRA is that they are really working to create balance in nature and within us. So they have something called co-impact sourcing, and what they're doing is they sorry about my beeps. I haven't learned to adjust my settings yet. I haven't tried actually. Um, anyway, what they try to do is they try to restore balance in nature. So since the Douglas fir trees are overtaking the natural landscape, they're harvesting those trees out of there to restore balance in New Zealand. And these trees are so quintessential to the Pacific Northwest. I mean, every time I think of the Northwest, I think of ponderosa pines, Douglas fir, big evergreens, right? Cedarwood trees. So there's so many different healing benefits. I mean, when we think of trees, they're especially these Douglas firs, they just grow very straight and tall, and they're evergreen, everlasting, right? They're always green. So no matter what, we still get bits of green even in the winter. And, you know, they just run their roots very deep. And over the last several, I don't know how many years, but they've here in the Pacific Northwest, there's a bug that's infested a lot of the trees, which has killed great stands of trees. And that's one of the reasons that's contributed to the major wildfires here that have been happening here on the West Coast. But Douglas fir has long been associated with protection. Like I was saying earlier, for me, I just feel protected in the forest. And, this goes back to our ancestral ways when we weren't living in houses, but we were more nomadic. There's a real sense of protection in the forest when we consider our native roots. And it's considered a very spiritual tree to me because of it just has spiritual significance, the healing properties, which we'll talk about. So let's talk about I love to talk about the energetic and emotional properties of plants first because I'm an emotional girl. And I love to feel all the feels and talk to people about emotions and really go deep with people. So this the Douglas fir is a generational teacher. It shares generational wisdom. So this is the oil of generational wisdom. And Douglas fir and white fir actually share many qualities together. And unfortunately, doTERRA no longer sells white fir, but they do have Siberian fir, which is their replacement. And if you've ever smelled Siberian fir, it's coming from the boreal forests out of Siberia, and it is also a magic oil. But they have similar qualities because they're in the fir family. And Douglas firs live a longer life and would be considered the older and wiser of the two trees. So when we look at plants and we give them personalities, we can look at it as our old ancestor, right? The old crone or the great grandfather, And I love to sit and meditate under trees, really feel their vibration. I've had the opportunity and blessing to work with a shaman before who actually showed me. I mean, I've always been a tree hugger. I've actually planted trees here in the Pacific Northwest for literally 9 summers. So I have a real affinity for trees. My sister would say that at one point in my life, I liked trees more than I liked people because I spent 5 days in the woods and would come back on the weekends just to take a real shower and do laundry and go back. So I consider myself a forest fairy, a little nymph in that way. Um, and when we sit and meditate or we hug the trees and we begin to ask the trees or plants, but we're talking about trees, so I'm just going to keep to trees. But when we ask the Douglas fir to show us a message, to share its healing wisdom with us, amazing things can happen. So I don't know if you've ever communed with plants, but I am definitely a plant nerd, a plant geek, and they're a part of my family. I feel they are just so amazing, such amazing beings and creatures. And when I learned to hug the trees here, you close your eyes, and it's like, for me anyway, it's like a time lapse movie just began to project because the tree has been standing there for generations, some for hundreds of years. And to watch all the change in the landscape that goes by as the tree just stands there steady and strong among all the chaos, all the storms, all the different weather systems, all, you know, the animals and everything, and you can just begin to see. And then the plant will also reveal its healing qualities to you, and you will get from the plant the messages that you need to receive. So it's really an amazing practice. And if you don't have the opportunity to go out and hug the real tree, you can get yourself a little bottle of doTERRA's oil. And when you open it up, I've been smelling it all day. It's been in my diffuser. Oh, it's so amazing. And for me, oh, my bottle is, oh, it's pretty much empty. Got to put that one on my list. So when it gets empty like this, what I like to do is I like to take the orifice reducer off this plastic cap. And what you could do is you could add a few, like a little bit of a carrier oil, and then put the cover back on and shake that up and get the last little bits out of it. And you can put it topically on your skin, on the soles of the feet. And let's talk about why we would use it, and we'll go back to the ancient wisdom of it. But we would do this for muscle soreness. So it's really great for achy muscles, and you can just rub that right on your muscles and rub the healing property of the tree right into your skin. Let it absorb into all the 7 layers of the skin, deep into your muscles, the tissues, the bones. And it's also really great for skin irritations. So you will want to heavily dilute it for skin irritations, but think of sap in the trees, or the sap that the Douglas fir would emit. And the oil is not the sap, but it is, it has the quality of the sap. So when we're talking about skin irritations, a sap is almost like a salve, right? And so when you put it on your skin, it also can alleviate skin irritations. It's also known to open up the respiratory system. It's known as an expectorant, so it moves phlegm and mucus out of the body. So it's great if you have congestion, and you can dilute it and with 1 or 2 drops and rub that over your chest, or you can diffuse it. If you are experiencing any headaches or migraines, one of the best remedies I know is getting in the trees. And again, if you can't go into the forest and get into nature and earth and ground down, put this oil in your diffuser, and it is meant to alleviate any migraines. Or you can rub it on your temples and rub it all through your head. Give yourself a little head, neck, and shoulder massage, and you can use it in that way. It's also a great one that promotes mental clarity and focus. So if you have a tendency to be spacey, tree oils will ground you down. They help you focus. And you can also inhale it right from your cupped hands, or put it in your diffuser. So its main properties is that it can be used as an antioxidant. It's got antioxidant properties. It's analgesic, like we were talking about. It helps with alleviate pain. It's also known as the diuretic, which means it helps to move things through the body, and an expectorant, as well as a healing tonic. So the main chemical constituents in there is beta pinene, alpha pinene, and it's got a couple others, but those are the main ones. Well, many others, but those are the main. And you can also use it to support arthritis, constipation, so you can massage your lower abdomen, depression, emotional congestion, if you need to move energy and get some energy going, if you're working with generational patterns. And usually when we're working with generational patterns, we want to heal them, right? We want to heal old patterns that may be negative, or you may want to develop stronger generational patterns and connect that open up your ear to hearing the words of your ancestors through plants, so you can work with it in that way too, which is really amazing. It's also great if you have sinus issues, or if you're looking to gain weight, which is really interesting. If you have weight gain, so if you're looking to manage weight, it's also an interesting one to use with weight management. Now, it also has monoterpenes in it, and monoterpenes like the B-pinene or the beta pinene that I was talking about make Douglas Fir an uplifting oil that can lift you up from dysfunctional generational patterns. And here's a great one. They have a recipe for breathing called Namaste breathing. So you can use this in your yoga practice or when you want to meditate, and add just 2 drops of each: Douglas fir, juniper berry, and grapefruit. So you can cup that in your hands, you can make a roller bottle blend, you can put it in a diffuser, you can rub the oils on your chest or on the soles of your feet, and use that to deep breathe, open the airways. Imagine you're sitting in the most pristine forest as you commune with plants to receive the messages you need to receive. Also, you can add 3 drops of each to create a really relaxing blend. So 3 drops of Douglas Fir, 3 drops of doTERRA's Serenity blend, which is their restful blend, and excuse me, 3 drops of their Balance blend, which is their grounding blend. So as we go back to talk about Douglas Fir on an emotional, energetic level, it also assists individuals to live according to your own conscious and values, and letting go of harmful patterns. So it's a great one for for each generation, to show us the gift of new life, of new growth, and new beginnings. It can also assist with increasing the bond within your own family. And to build value meaningful relationships over blind loyalty or traditions. It also teaches us to learn from and value other people's experiences and become more sensitive to that, especially to our own family and our ancestors. It encourages respect for our elders and ancestral heritage. And Douglas Fir reminds us that obtaining wisdom and listening to the stories of our elders is invaluable, right? Because we don't want that wisdom to die with them. So we can learn from the past and from beings who are older and wiser and who have lived longer than us and have some more experience under their belt. So it promotes generational healing, respect for elders, wisdom, and learning from the past. It blends well with Siberian fir and petite grain, which is a citrus. Oh, it smells like a citrus. So it will also, Douglas Fir will also blend well with citrus oils. And then I just wanted to share a little bit of history. It got its name from the Scottish botanical scientist David Douglas, who of course called the tree after himself. And he actually introduced it to the European Botanical Society in 1827. Just a little tidbit of information for you. And if you've ever had the opportunity to touch the evergreens of Douglas fir, it's quite soft to the touch and very fragrant. And in the spring, the new growth is, you can tell the new growth. It's very, very green. And in the spring, you can snip those tips and you can infuse your oils with that, your carrier oils with that, and intensify. You can make teas from it. And it's just so amazing. So let's talk about some recipes. You can also infuse sugars or salts and just put cleaned cleaned greens in your oils or your foods and instill them. And if you don't have access to that, you can put a drop of oil in there, doTERRA's oil, because doTERRA is therapeutic grade or certified pure therapeutic grade, meaning that it's free of all toxins, chemicals, synthetics. So it's coming right from the plant, and you know that it's guaranteed to be pure and potent. So when you're using them in, when you're using the oil in recipes, I like to take a wooden toothpick. And what I'll do, you'll see that the orifice reducer is moist with the oil, and you don't even, you can just swirl your toothpick around or kind of stick it in the bottle, and then it will moisten, and you can smell it on there. And then you can mix that in your food or your drinks. And you can infuse your, like I said, your vinegars, your gin, your tea. You can make baked goods and give a little hint of the forest in there in your muffins or baked goods. You can season your salts or sugars. And like I said, tea. And it really blends nice with, if you want to make like a forest tea, you can use cinnamon and orange. And you can also, here in Oregon, we have Oregon grapefruit, and you can put Oregon grape in there. It has healing qualities. Nettle, reishi mushrooms. You can put, I think rosemary would be quite nice with that. Clove, even you can put some cloves in your tea. So you can get really creative when you just start smelling the oil. You just can start imagining what will pair nice with it. It's like partnering up your friends on blind dates without the stress or any expectation, right? Okay, so yeah, just a little bit about Douglas fir there. So if you have any questions, or Gail, if you have anything that you would like to add, you can certainly add and unmute yourself. But there's so many medicinal benefits to Douglas fir because of all of the chemical constituents within, and we just talked a little bit about them, so I didn't want to get too technical, but it's so great for stagnancy, even in your liver, for inflammatory conditions, like I was saying, with rheumatism or arthritis. Yeah. So if you ever have any questions, or if you have any other additions or unique uses for Douglas fir, I always love to learn. So please write them in the comments or message me directly. And thanks for being here. Next week, we'll be talking about eucalyptus.
Thanks, Karuna.
You're so welcome, Gail. Good to see you, and I will see you soon.
Okie dokie.
Have a
Namaste.
beautiful Wednesday.
You too.
Namaste.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.